Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatterspodcast1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you like, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on, just carries on.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum this Monday night, and as always, joined by a panel of Newcastle United supporters to give their views on another dismal trip to the capital, and indeed another dismal away game performance from Newcastle United. What's going wrong? We won't have the answers on here, but we will have some pretty forthright opinions, I'm sure. My opinion is very simple. We just weren't good enough again yesterday. Lots of things we could point out, lots of players you could probably individually criticise, but we win as a team, we lose as a team, and people I felt most sorry for yesterday were the supporters. Again, another trip to the capital, another fruitless trip to the capital. Saw a goal, but it's all starting to feel very much like it has most of my supporting life on the road, where Newcastle United have always had a decent home record, but gone away and been absolutely abysmal. And not a win against an actual Premier League team now since we actually beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. That's how bad it is. Our last actual away win to a Premier League team at the time was Leicester City, of course, but they're now in the Championship. What's the problem? You want my honest opinion? It's losing Alexander Isak in the summer and replacing him with Nick Voltemade. Nick Voltemade plays too deep and it's unbalanced the rest of the team. It's as simple as that. That is why we can't score goals, and that is why Newcastle United are struggling. We are scoring the odd goal, but with no forward going forward, and with a forward that's sitting back, it's unbalanced the team. And as a result of that, we've lost the high press. We can't work the high press like we used to. And that's not just down to the forward line. It's also down to playing two aging fullbacks. Two fullbacks who are incapable of playing at a high level in the Premier League week after week after week. On the right-hand side, Kieran Trippier. His brain will tell him one thing, but his legs won't be able to cash those checks in. Dan Burn is not a fullback. He's not a left-back. He's played there a lot of times in his career, but at this moment in time, in the Premier League, without players who are capable of helping him in front of him, then he's always going to get caught out. He's always going to get targeted. That's what happened yesterday. Eddie, definitely to blame yesterday for not making two changes. First of all, if Nick Pope was concussed, why wasn't he taken off when he was concussed? Why was he left on for another 10 or 15 minutes? Question mark over Eddie and Jason Tindall on that one. And Dan Burn. Why was Dan Burn left on the pitch yesterday after he got away with murder? He literally gave away a penalty. and it was overruled. For me, 100%, that first one was a penalty. The second one was less of a penalty, but I think they just balanced it up because of the mistake with the first one. Simple as that. But Dan Burn shouldn't have been on the pitch. Lewis Hall is fit and he's available. Why didn't he bring Lewis Hall on? He was asked that in the press conference afterwards, and it's all very well with hindsight, but he said he probably would have made the change with hindsight. It's unfortunate. It's one of those things. What I will say is we've been here before. We've been here before under Eddie Howe. We've been down the road where when the backs are against the walls, Newcastle come out and respond. But at the moment, looking at the away games that we've got to play against the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, it's easy to get so disappointed and say, where is the next win coming from? We probably won't win another game on the road. But football doesn't work like that. And of course, in a month's time, we've got the derby. I will say this now, though, to end my little rant on a bit of positive. In a derby, form goes out the window. Is it worth being in the same form we're in now to go and beat Sunderland for our first away win since April? Never say never. But that's my rant. That's my rant over. That's my points made. George, gobsmacked George this week. George, I think we're all gobsmacked, mate, to be honest. I can't see any happy clapping tonight. I've got to be perfectly honest.
Well, the gobsmack was there because of Darren's Tottenham pick, and I've just forgot to remove it to put the delusional back and start again. Anyway, you've said most of it, Steve. I mean, the disappointing thing more than anything for me is that Eddie seems to have lost the plot, frankly. I thought he did long before this week, but this week particularly, there were things happening which wouldn't have happened before. Why suddenly? As you say, the substitutions, we've all been puzzled by substitutions and all the rest of it, but it was just difficult to understand. And in the Pope one particularly, you've got a goalkeeper who's injured and even worse, a possible concussion, and not had the best of games anyway, because he was flapping again and things brushing across them and not actually getting them. To leave him on in that position was just diabolical, just poor management, and is the easiest way. And the other one is that yes, Dan Burn's an easy target because he's had a bad game, but to leave him the way he did is hanging him out to dry. I mean, I just couldn't understand it. It doesn't help today, of course, and I've sat and watched a lot of platforms today showing the match again. And former professional referees, saying the first one wasn't a penalty, and the second one wasn't even a foul. So but that doesn't help. It's the people on the pitch that's in the Brentford that make the decisions, not referees who've retired. And you could go through the team. It's difficult to find a man of the match. If you've got to, sadly, Tonali scrapes it by the fact he's still on his feet at the end. But other than that, I mean, that got to be the worst game Kieran Trippier has had for Newcastle United since he came. And as you said, add that to a fact with a left back that's not performing, then you've really got a problem, and the two centre backs are going to have to work like hell just to keep winning the game. The puzzling thing is like against Bilbao, the first 10 minutes or so, there was some great football. I mean, the opening goal was a peach, but we seem to lose that. And I think the Bilbao victory, for example, I, along with many others, was chuffed at all the lovely things that Marino said, but what Marino said actually covered the cracks, because even in that match we were brilliant for 20 minutes, then we disappeared, brilliant for a quarter of an hour in the second half, and then could have given away at the end. The irony there is that in the first half particularly, we had 65% of the possession, and Bilbao had twice as many shots on goal. And that's a statistic that's worth thinking about. And same thing yesterday. We when we had the chance to do things, we didn't take the odd opportunities that came. And the other thing is that we came out in the second half for about 10 minutes. Then after that, we weren't at the races after that, and could have hung on for better, but we didn't. We couldn't. So there's all things happening on the field, but there's lots of things happening off the field as far as I'm concerned. With Valdemar, I don't entirely agree, Steve. I think we've got ourselves a good footballer. Just he's being asked to do something different to what he's used to. And even yesterday, there were times when he did get involved. It was nice to watch. Why he's reluctant to play Asula as a straightforward number 9 alongside him, I don't know. But he's going to have to do something quickly, because otherwise it becomes a disaster. You know, it's a bit of an upset at the moment, but it's a disaster waiting to happen. The other thing is that what give it the bad start for me was on a Saturday night. I sat and watched a Premier League match on Saturday night, and it pains me to say it was one of the best Premier League games I've seen this season. Both teams going hammer and tongs, and trying to get a result. It was just mystifying where it was. And I'm beginning to think I was in dreamland, but for goodness sake, it can't be like that in December. If I go on, I'll just go on moaning again, and that's not my style at all. I mean, I knew that today would make Alan happy, but roll on up the mags, and we'll see what the end of the season brings.
I don't think anybody would be happy, George, with a result. I mean, Alan's a Newcastle fan. At the end of the day, he's got a complete opposite opinion to you most of the time. But I would say that Alan would be as disappointed as us. I don't think anybody takes any joy in seeing Newcastle get beaten, George.
Really? All right.
No, I don't think. But anyway, Darren, give us your view, mate.
I can't agree with a few things you said. To be fair, Steve, knee ones. The rush out yesterday, Frank. Nick Pope, the first goal, I'm sorry, come punch it. I don't think anyhow got the bottle to drop his number 1. I don't think he'd be ruthless. He's trying to stay loyal too much, in my opinion. And that's what's going to... If they keep losing away, Steve, you know how much of me football's a funny old game. And the powers that be do not want to be near the bottom of the league. They don't want to be in the top of the league. Mm-hmm. Like say Dan Burn, I know like you said he's not a left back. If Lewis Holds fit you playing from the start, put Dan Burn on the bench. The first Pelly number 1 was a Pelly all day long. We've all played football. We've all looked at it. That is a Pelly. How the VAR said it's not a Pelly. It's got me baffled. Yeah, I've looked back at it loads.
Absolutely.
The second one again, I think they've just made up because of the fucking with the first one. Pardon my French. They made them stay on the first one, but they have. Valdemar, I agree with you, Steve. Well, we're missing a part number 9. To me, I think he's been a panic buy. I really do think that he's keep coming deep and he's putting pressure on the team. But the players look like they're doing with Isaac, where you play the ball forward and the players can get up there to join him. So him dropping deep, to me, is putting pressure on the players. So Eddie needs either change the formation or... I know we said, but it's not working with Baltimore up front. He's coming too deep, and you could see all the time he's just coming too deep. I'm sorry to get annoyed. They say I think Tonali, he wasn't done nothing yesterday. It's like I feel for Eddie's done a great job and he's done everything right. But if you look at his last since the Liverpool win, his away record hasn't been very good. How many games have he won since then? And we're not scoring goals, and that's the worrying thing. Goals get you points, and it's getting concerning in my eyes now. I hope you can turn around. I hope you can do something. But we play Man City, then we'll play Marseille, then we'll play Everton. They're big games. If we lose them three, what's on the cards? And if we lose Derby, it's going to be worrying. And everybody's already started Eddie Howe. I don't want Eddie Howe, but he needs to do something. Get the low confidence. It bothers me that how we're low confidence. The players are not working hard enough. I don't mind getting beat. Like we've got beat against Newcastle at St James's Park, but we give 110%. At the minute, the players are not giving 110% in my eyes. They're very sloppy in possession. They're not busting the gut. We went to West Ham there, Stephen. They didn't play well. And what I've seen yesterday, again, they didn't play well. And it's me. You want that bit of order, you know what I mean? Can't bust the gut, and they're not doing it. And the subs was very strange too. So I just think it's worrying times for us because if we want to be continuing in the Champions League in the Europe, I don't think we'll be there next season. I think 9, 8, or 9. I think I'm looking good. I think it might be lower than that now because we're not going to win many away games in my eyes because we're going to play Chelsea, your Tottenhams, your Man U's, your Arsenal's, all the big boys away, like Alan said last week, and it's on current form. We're not going to win many away games in my eyes. The team should be beaten. We're not doing it at all. So that's my rant of the way, Steve.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, nobody is going to be happy about yesterday's result. I really think it's, I was a bit concerned about doing this show tonight because it can get you down. It can get you down. It really can. A Newcastle defeat can. But when we're losing these games on a regular basis and there's nothing positive really to take out of yesterday's game, I probably felt Malik Chow was one who came off with a bit of credit. But other than that, even when midfield let we're down, Joe Linton obviously went off injured.
Tonali did nothing for me. He did not mean as Tonali.
No, Tonali for me didn't have a good game at all. Yeah. Again, I've heard one or two pundits say that felt that was his worst game. Misplacement of passes, feigning injury, as somebody's mentioned in the chat. That was another thing I was going to bring up. Bruno misplacing passes. There was so many negative things yesterday that there was very little positive, with the exception of the goal, which. The first half wasn't very pretty for either side, but it was probably against the run of play in Newcastle's goal, and that's the thing at the moment. We go into a lead, we score a goal away from home, but then we just can't finish the job. And we don't push and look for the second like we did when Isak was in the team. We almost sit back and we then look lethargic in the second half. And I know the other side of it is Newcastle haven't been able to train. They haven't been able to train as a collective, as a team for different reasons. And maybe that's starting to show as well. Maybe that's the reason that we can't, that we can't.
All the other teams, Steve, your big boys, they don't train, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we want to be a big club, they're not trained as well.
Yeah, but they're complaining constantly about it, like Liverpool,
But that's Liverpool, though.
Well, they've been knocked out of one cup, so.
Are you not talking about the illness, Steve?
Well, no, I'm not talking about the illness. Well, Eddie Howe has mentioned on more than one occasion in his press conferences that because of the games coming thick and fast, that they're not training on a regular basis. They're not allowed. You can't train, and this is new to me. I've always felt that they would train, but they're not training. And Steve, I don't disagree with you in the chat. He says it's a myth that we're playing well at home. I would say you're right, because we have had we have had some games where we've got away with it on the skin of our teeth. You just need to look at the win over Wolves, for example. Prime example. It wasn't a landslide of a victory. It was a narrow win. We won though, thankfully. Notts Forest, it wasn't a massive win over a team who was struggling for form at the time. It was a narrow win. So yeah, look, I agree with everybody's point of view. Jeff, we'll come to you, mate. Give us your views on that defeat at the weekend.
Well, I'm one of the people. I have to work harder at thinking of interesting things to say when we lose. I think Chow is now our main man. He's very good. Stupid bookings. Yeah, well, there's enough of that going on. And it looked to me like the referee was being controlled by... The referee had anal beads or something like that. And of course, Pope, well, dear me, it's Guy Fawkes, isn't it? And he's Pope, Catholics, burning, I don't know. And as for all this punching, it was getting a bit silly. He really was getting a bit bad. And so bringing on a different goalkeeper for a penalty. Now, that reminded of a former goalkeeper who I can't remember, who was Scandinavian, who we brought on for a penalty. Who was brought
Tim
on
Krul.
David Krul, that was it. Now, it's precedented, okay? Well done, the travelling support. You could hear them most of the way through. And there was a sepulchral atmosphere, wasn't there? And eventually, at 47 minutes, I heard, "Come on, Brentford, come on, Brentford." And I thought, oh, there they go. There's a classic for you. And what is this custard yellow conspiracy? I'm not sure what's going on, but we got custard yellow boots. I've already noticed this. We've now got a custard yellow ball. Pope was dressed in custard yellow. The boots are everywhere. There's some sort of custard conspiracy going on, and I don't know what it is. And I think it started with Noon. And I'm not sure what Noon is about either, to be honest. Unless it's Noonan.
It's like an Amazon. It's like an Amazon.
It's not named after the navigator who got lost flying in the South Atlantic. Never mind. Okay. So I want to bring you on to something else, my own personal thing. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was off, that you had to survive without me. And the reason was the cat had died, an unfortunate circumstance. And I had 3 days of sort of grief and mourning. And then I had a week when I was wandering around going, what's wrong with me? Have I got Alzheimer's? I couldn't remember who the hell I was. I couldn't remember anything. Right? I couldn't remember the names of players. Right? I was looking at games thinking, what on earth? Who's he? Does he play for us? Right? Where did we get him from? And since when, and that was COVID-19. Okay. I worked out later that I'd had COVID-19. I hadn't realized it at the time, but I was wandering around in a complete state of daze. So we ought to be aware that this stuff has some strange effects on people and long-term effects. And, I was very, very in a strange way. And what can we say? Going back to the game, yes, the problem is loyalty. Darren nailed it, really. He tends to be loyal to his players, and which is a nice trait. And we get a lot out of our players because of that. But unfortunately, he went a bit far with Dan Burn. And Voldemort's very good with his back to goal. Right? He has that one ability. He's very good at playing with his back to goal and knocking it back again. It's when he tries to turn. And that's another thing. People have learned the way we play, and they target Bruno. We said it last week. Bruno is very casual about turning, right? And if you get a player on either side of him, they're just going to take the ball off him. And that was happening all the time. We kept being robbed of possession because we were too casual, and we've got used to sort of laying it off without watching. That's the other mad thing. And when we have got some of the tallest players in the league, right, our free kicks and corners are hitting the first man, and you're going, what? That's a mortal sin. That's really we could certainly do without that, and that's not even going into the nonsense that's going on in throw-ins. So yeah, I think there's some work to be done there. Our set pieces ought to be a lot better. And we were talking about people encouraging people to shoot, and there were quite a lot of stuff going over the bar and stuff at one stage. Bruno seems to have a sort of ritual hack over the bar at the earliest opportunity. But yeah, so I'm not really saddened by it. They're learning to play against us. It's a tough league, right? If we won every week, we'd be top, I think, probably. Yeah, even if we drew every week, we'd be doing all right somewhere.
Well, there's a logic in that, Jeff. Your fans are asking. Your fans are asking for the dog. Where's Rex?
Rexicles. Rex, you're coming up. Steve wants to see you there.
It's crossing.
Come on, over here.
Go on.
Yeah.
Good lad.
There's the star of the show, and a relatively sensible one there from Jeff with some good points. So thank you for that, Jeff.
Morning.
Adam, welcome to the show, game mate. We haven't frightened you off, which is good. You did your gig at Newburn. How did that go?
Yeah, good mate. Raised money for a good cause and for a local lad that passed away 2 years ago. Raised £1,200, so very good.
Well done, mate. Well done. And don't forget, Adam is playing at the Clooney in December. You just get yourself onto the Clooney website. He's got some great support with them. So get yourself onto their website to buy tickets or contact Adam on social media. So, Adam, what did you make of the 3-1 defeat at Brentford?
Well, like I mentioned last week, me Macam father decided the messages asking what my favourite insect was, and before I could reply, he said his was a bee. So that's how that went straight away. So that was the tone of it straight away. For me, it's kind of going on the focus of Eddie Howe, and it'd be interesting to see what your lads' views on the people in the chat. I've seen loads of people saying he's hit his ceiling, he's took the squad the way he can, and things like that. But if the worst was to happen and he does go, which I can guarantee no one wants that to happen because we're all rooting for Eddie Howe and things like that, who do you go and get? There's no one who's a free agent really that's worth going to get. Do you make an approach to Crystal Palace and go look at Oliver Glasner and things like that?
Bournemouth manager.
Yeah, the Bournemouth manager, he's absolutely killing it at Bournemouth as well. You look at managers like that and you think, are there an upgrade, or is it just going to be the same type of problems until they build their squad? Something I mentioned last week as well, the lads of the team, Eddie Howe and his staff, they're still learning how to get the best out of this new squad, essentially. I think you look at the signings, for me, it's only been Malik Chow, and yes, Walter has scored some goals, but it's only been Malik Chow that's made an impact. Alanga, kind of, when we signed Alanga, no one was like, oh God, what we signed him for? We were all excited. We all thought, oh, what a signing. Hasn't done it. I think obviously Ramsdale's out of that conversation because he's not been given much of a chance to prove himself in between the sticks. I think Ramsey hasn't done it yet. I think there is some pressure on Eddie Howe, and maybe he is walking that tightrope. I think what the away fans done really well yesterday was stayed and applaud and sang and made sure that the players did feel appreciated at the end. And I think you've seen in the past where there's been times where a video came out a couple of seasons ago when Kieran Trippier was standing there arguing with some away fans because we'd had a dip. So as Steve said before, we've been there backs against the wall when the pressure's been on, and we've always seemed to come out the other end. Like Christ, we were 20th at one point when Eddie Howe took over, and look where we are now. For me, if you were to change the squad a bit, I would play Voltemada in the midfield with Bruno in Tonali, put Voltemada as the 10 because he's very good on the pivot. He can get players involved, get runners off him. And I would give Asula a go up top. He won't get the goals, but he'll ignite that press that we need because that's Newcastle's identity is a high press and getting forward from the start, having that shithousery about like we've had in the past and where teams hated playing us. I think that's what our press does. I think the European form has kind of papered over some cracks of the season. Obviously, the one good team we did play, they beat us, and that was Barcelona. USG, we beat them 4-0. We'll be an aging Benfica side, which we were expected to do. In Bilbao, they were missing 4 or 5 really important players. So although we've got the wins and it looks good on the table, the one decent team we've played, they taught us how to play football that night. Again, it's not panic stations, lads. Like I've said, it's backs against the wall and it'll show who your real leaders are. In going forward, I think obviously Man City's the next game. If there's one thing that shows a bounce back is if you go and get a result against the team that I believe will be the Premier League champions at the end of the season. So yeah, that's my opinion. Good stuff, Adam. Thank you very much. Pablo, over to you.
Very positive from Adam. I wish I was as positive as you. You've almost sold me. You were selling it. Do you know what, Steve Ray? I think you pretty much nailed it with your assessment early on. I think with the Brentford performance, shall we say, and I think it accumulates over 3 performances in total now. You've got the West Ham, Brighton and Brentford. Brighton, I believe we were tactically outclassed. West Ham, we were probably outfought to a certain degree with some questionable subs from Eddie. And I think Brentford was probably the flattest and a combination of the two. I think when you look at it, Adam's right. We are living, if this was a different football club and a different situation, I think Eddie Howe's position will be seriously under threat. You know, if he was at a different club, I think with what he's done for us, which is what we as a fan base appreciate and see past, is the glory that he brought last year and what he's done for us throughout his time. At the minute, this is probably his most testing time, and it will test PIF because we've never seen how ruthless they are or how loyal they are. So far, they've been loyal. But I can imagine maybe there is a few thoughts in their mind. I think one quote I heard Eddie come out with in the past day or two was, "We're a new team adapting." Now, I've looked at the lineups for those 3 games I've mentioned. There's only actually been 2 of the new signings in any of the starting 11 lineups. So we're actually playing with the players you had, Eddie. So for me, that confused me a little bit, that comment. And that to me, you know, is he clutching at straws? Is he worried himself? Does he know something we don't? I'm not sure. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was questioning at the minute, but I think that is also an opportunity for him to show us exactly how good he is. It's only going to go one way, isn't it? I mean, we've highlighted the games coming up. You know, that could be a real nail in the coffin if we get another 3 defeats. It all depends on where we see ourselves. I mean, do we still see ourselves as qualifying for the Champions League?
No,
because if any fan is sat there happy at being 14th, 15th in a Premier League, there's actually no point in us all coming on here on a Monday night ranting about it. We may as well accept our fate. But we know we're better than that. We know the squad's better than that. At the moment, it feels like square pegs in round holes. Walter, I'll stick my neck on the line again. I said it last week. I'm not going to talk about Nick Pope because nothing changes if nothing changes. And Eddie, for me, that's the bit that's niggling me at the moment. He seems very, very rigid and reluctant to pivot, even though he can see it unfolding in front of him that it's not working. You know, I want him to try something different. Listen, if he tries something different and he fails, you know, so be it. You've tried, but the same every week is producing the same results. And for me, that's Einstein's definition of madness, I believe. But do you know what? The Dan Burn thing, we can talk about it all day. So, you know, you don't need to be a qualified football manager or an FA coach to realise that Dan Burn needed to be hooked. For me, I can't understand. Lewis Hall has a certain amount of fitness, otherwise he wouldn't be on the bench. Why wouldn't you start Lewis Hall? And if he got into trouble, if he flagged to the manager, you know, I need to come off, then we look at changing it. But when you've got a ready-made left back, when we know our weakness at the minute, Brentford's kind of advantage is their 3-forward line, and certainly the 2 guys wide of the striker. That's their strength, you know. And to hang Dan Burn out to dry like that, for me, that's a big no-no. Where do we go from this? I'm not sure. I'm in the middle at the minute. I certainly want Eddie to pull us out of it. We're capable of it. I'm probably the same as you lads. I just wait in hope. For me, I was going to touch on it then. I'm just going to stick my neck on the line. For me, Walter Mardy, I am perfectly willing to sit here in whenever's time and say I've got it wrong. For me, he's a gimmick player. He's fantastic on the ball. He'll do magical things. And put him at Real Madrid, he would look like Messi. Unfortunately, this is the Premier League. You're at Newcastle United, and for me, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. I don't know where that fits in for us to function the way we were. Now, he may have a plan for him. I don't know. But for me, he isn't the answer. And I'm sorry to say that, but there we go. I think that's about it, mate.
Okay. Good stuff. Magnus, welcome back. Lots of football matches for your youngster, so that's why we haven't seen you, but welcome back to the Fans Forum. Give us your take on that game at the weekend, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have pretty much covered it. It's been difficult 2 weekends, and it's very worrying and alarming that we struggle so badly scoring goals away from home. I mean, those 2 decisions and not taking Pope off and leaving Dan Burn on, you know, I think we were all all on the chat. I think any child under the sunshine could see that Dan Burn was out of his head. He could not handle it, and he was thrown lifelines more than once, and it just felt like with all those red flags, the manager didn't react, and I am totally with Eddie Howe, and I respect him, and we are all humans and we make mistakes, but this was a huge one. We were 1-0 up at halftime, and I was getting quite hopeful at that point. So how in the world can we go so completely wrong, with the team and the defense that we've got, as to not at least get a point from that position? I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Malik Chiao is the light in the darkness. The only hope I can see in this, or like at least other teams are also struggling. We are seeing working progress all over the league, and that gives me maybe a little bit of hope. And also for if I just remind myself of last season. I mean, we went through a bit of a phase where we were getting results and not really the performances from going into getting good performances and no results. I remember last year around this time, I thought, well, the Carabao Cup might be our only way into Europe. And little did I know, after I thought that we went on a 10-game run of victories, and they need to find that inner strength to find the form like that, because you can't expect to be up and about. I think we will still be in and around the top around Christmas, and I know Darren disagrees with me.
Massively.
I was dreading a little bit seeing you tonight.
We haven't got a striker though, mate. We haven't got a fast striker, which Eddie relies on.
No. So and for me, the biggest issue at the minute is when Matt Targett left, we didn't replace him. We haven't had our two great fullbacks playing. I mean, okay, Dan Burn is fantastic. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but he cannot carry all this burden by himself.
We've got Lewis Hall left back.
Yeah, I know. That's the big mistake we're all talking about. That's a huge mistake.
You said Target?
What?
You said Matt Target?
Yeah, Matt Target left. We didn't replace him. We didn't buy another player, and we are struggling. He didn't put him on because Lewis Hall is not fully fit. Otherwise, you probably would have put him on even earlier. But if he's fit enough to play 20 minutes, he's fit enough to play 45 minutes.
Yeah, he's fit enough to be in bench start from the start. That's the thing. Yeah. Eddie Howe's been loyal to Dan Burn. He's too afraid to drop Dan Burn. That's where Eddie Howe's trouble. He's too friggin' loyal.
And that's what we were screaming. Anybody that was watching the game was screaming for that substitution. And I don't know why it didn't happen. And that's why we're talking about that mistake. It was a mistake. He should have put Hall on long before he did. And other news, okay, I want to talk about something positive. I'm coming over with 21 Icelanders in January. We have been admitted as an official supporters club, and we're on our way. We're going to make a lot of noise and have a great time around the 25th of January. So looking forward to see as many of you guys as possible. So that's the positive I can see about this week.
Very good, mate.
Well done, Magnus.
Look forward to seeing you when you come over. That's fantastic news. Alan, good evening, mate.
All right, Steve. Well, Steve, you nailed half of what I've written down here.
That's good.
Intro. Yeah. Honestly, I've said it for weeks. I've said it for weeks about the striker, and the two fullbacks are the key to our game. And we've missed Livermenko and Lewis Hall. As soon as Lewis Hall came on the second half, we've done a great cross in, and it nearly led to a goal when we're 2-1 down. Much of what the lads have said is true. They've covered it, but you've covered my main points. Just to let you know, Steve, special mention to Brenda in Orta when I went to the match. They watch the show and they love it. Just I was going to mention them. Just give them a
Spot
plug.
on.
So the actual fans forum is widening out all over the place. It's just a lack of confidence, Steve. It shows that it's flat. The last 3 games we've been leading 1-0. Fulham, we've got away with it. But against Brentford and West Ham, 1-0 up, we should be going for them. And there's nothing there. There's just absolutely no energy and spark and creativity in midfield. Malik Chow is the only one that came out of any slight credit on Sunday. I don't take any pleasure, as much as George might think I do, of my prediction would get beat 3-1. If I've seen being to Shrewsbury, Southend and Cambridge back in the day, I took no pleasure in them defeats when we're in the 2nd division. And I don't take any pleasure now getting beat. So at the end of the day, it's a lot of fans forums after the defeat, especially the younger YouTubers, Eddie Howe out, Eddie Howe out. I'm not in that bracket at all. So, you know, it's a case of we've got to support the team. I'm a fanatical supporter, just like everybody on this fans forum. And you go through the good times and the bad times, mainly the bad times. And like I tried to express, we've never been a good away team until actually Eddie Howe come. And this is his first season where we've been absolutely terrible away from home. Prior to that, like I said in the show last week, Steve, we've never been a good away team because we've never, apart from the Keegan era, challenged for the title. And that's where I want to go. I want to be in the top 10 and sorry, the top tier, number 1. But as I thought at the start of the season, and you nailed it, Steve, we lost a massive player in the summer. It disrupted our season. Isaac was basically saying, you lads cannot win the Premier League title. Psychologically, that damages the squad, lads. And that could damage it for a couple of years, no matter who we have in charge. Couldn't care what the youngsters want. They want a new manager, whether it be, Glasner or wherever. What them outrageous comments that Jamie Carragher said on Sky Sports is that as far as Eddie Howe can take it? No, it's not. He can take with the number 1 with the right tools and right ambition. But unfortunately, it's been swept away in the summer, and the injuries to our 2 fullbacks and our striker, we would have a decent team. Like Adam says and the lad said, if he comes down too deep, and Darren says, to be effective, and look at the Murphy cross after 60 minutes. There was absolutely nobody there. A striker would have been there, and it could have been quite easy 2-1 instead of 1s each. And obviously, the Dan Burn thing, we've all highlighted schoolboy stuff. That's where I query Eddie Howe. He's not beyond criticism. I mean, Gordon was injured against Bilbao, and then he came on against West Ham and he went off with the same injury. Why was he allowed to play at West Ham? It doesn't show any trust in Elanga, which is worrying when we've paid 55 million for the lad, that he doesn't trust him to come on against West Ham. Gordon's apparently had an injury on the Wednesday night, and he brings him on the Sunday, and he's injured. Again, the Dan Burn thing, we've all said it. He's been hung out to dry. I said it as soon as the penalty was mistakenly not given. I said he should be off. And that's schoolboy management. He should have been off straight away and Lewis Hall on. You mentioned the points in the intro, Steve. Spot on. We shouldn't be. I mean, the bedwetters are already saying about Sunderland. I'm worried. I'm dreading the derby. I'm wanting the fight, man. Get a grip, man. We're Newcastle United. We shouldn't go to the derby game think we're going to get beat. We want to win that game and be confident. Like you said, Steve, form goes out the window, So I'm looking forward to the derby game. I'm not looking forward to coming back against Man City. And I'm not looking forward to Everton. But things will probably get worse before they get better. But this international break, I normally don't like them, but it gives Eddie Howe to clear his mind, 2 weeks to clear his mind and get it sorted. So all in all, massively disappointed. Am I surprised? No, because of the way the setup of the team is. We're so stale in midfield. The defence is holding it together, but unfortunately, again, you nailed it, Steve. The 2 fullbacks cannot support the front line. The press isn't there. to have that intensity. And like Adam said, we've lost that intensity to force teams because we really should be pressing them, and we're not. And we're scoring first, we're sitting back, allowing the teams to come on, and they're gaining confidence. And this league, like Jeff said, is unrelenting. Every team can beat each other. And like I say, we'll move on. I'm just as disappointed. I don't want to finish where we are. As much as George might think I do, I don't. I want to be number one. But unfortunately, we have not got the squad at the minute that Eddie Howe would want to get any higher than ninth, in my opinion. But there we go. I'll leave it at that, Steve, and let Barry get on. But yes, I'm disappointed. Shattered, really. That so many people are wanting Eddie Howe out. And Jamie Gallagher's comment was absolutely nonsense on Sky Sports, in my opinion. But that'll go with it. He wants Eddie Howe to be the next England manager. That's his agenda. So it's on his slot. Don't forget the positive, lads. We've lost just as many games as Liverpool. Is he shouting for Eddie Howe to go? We've lost 5. Liverpool have lost 5. So is he wanting Eddie Howe, on his slot sacked? The next England manager? It's being again on the positive side, lads. 2 wins and we're in the top 10. There's 3 points separating second place to 10th place. It's anybody's if Eddie Howe can get a grip of the situation. So I'm over the moon for a 2-week break, Steve, actually, as much as I don't like international breaks. Again, I'll let Barry talk. We could have a 2-hour show on tonight, Steve, but you're only allowed an hour.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, Alan. As always, quite a measured panel tonight. I've got to be honest. Interesting suggestion for Magnus here for when he comes over to Newcastle. It's from Steve. He says, maybe just bring a T-shirt, Magnus, because it'll be warm for you in January.
Yeah, and also, if you don't see me, you'll hear me. So
exactly.
I think we should meet up on Lindisfarne just for old time's sake.
All right, okay. Good idea, Jeff. Yeah, we'll finish with Barry tonight because someone's got to go and hang their washing out. Barry,
it's hard, isn't it? What can you say that the lads haven't already said? The game was terrible. Another really shocking performance. But you look at, did we honestly expect us to turn Brentford over? Obviously, the comments last week, I think the surprise was the defeat against West Ham, not the Brentford result, because Brentford are a quality side. They're there or thereabouts. They're where we want to be, and considering how many players they've lost recently, and obviously the changes they've had behind the scenes, they're doing amazing. It's one of those strange things, isn't it? You're desperate for Hall to get back. You don't want him to get injured. So I can see why he's continuing to play Burn. I totally agree with everything the lads have said. Burn should have been taken off way before he was. You could see it coming an absolute mile away. I agree with Darren. I think Walter Marder's he's playing out the position, and he hasn't been given time to get used to that number 9 attack and role, if that's how Eddie wants him to play. He's not that type of player. That type of player was Wissa, and Wissa got injured, so we've had to deal with it as best we can. Alanga's been shocking. For me, he was the one player who we signed who I thought would just hit the ground running and just be amazing. And he's done absolutely now. I said when we were watching, listening to the match, here comes Alanga's coming on, I was thinking, well, that'll not Dean out. He's done nothing in the whole time he's been there. I'm desperate for Hall to get back because I think Hall will change things and make, at least on that side of the pitch, he'll improve us dramatically. But like the guys have said, we need a striker for the hour. Unless Eddie's going to change the formation, which he seems so reluctant to do, he doesn't have a plan B. His whole formation in the way he plays is about press. And our wingers aren't doing it, and we haven't got a striker who can do it for us. I don't think Asula even is going to work that type of position. I think we need Wissa back, or we need to purchase somebody in January to play in that position and go for it. It's so hard that we're so desperately wanting to do things right. And I'm not one of these who wants Eddie out. You know, Eddie has got I have got a lot of faith in Eddie will turn this around. I think given the time and given the players back in the squad, he will do it. The comments about Mancini should come in and take over from Eddie Howe, I nearly fell off my chair at work when I read that one. I just thought this is just them taking the pee. You know, Eddie will do it. Yes, we're struggling, but like Alan said, 2 wins in the bag, and we're back up there again. Yeah, we're not where we want to be, but you've got to support them. I do think yet again the Champions League is knackering us because we still haven't got the squad that can cope. Because the extra players that we bought to boost the squad up aren't performing, we're still struggling. We might be doing all right in the Champions League, but it's having that knock-on effect on everything else. And I think the Carabao Cup results are just, like the guys have said, papering over the cracks. They're making us look better than we are and better than we're playing. But I'm looking forward to Ramsdale coming in. Not that I want Pope dropped, but I think he might give a bit of confidence to them and desperate to get Pope back in the team. I think he needs a break, Darren. I think he's like everybody else. He's having a drop in confidence. You know what I mean?
No, I disagree. I think he's not good enough, mate. I've watched his last 2, but the first, like you say, Sunday's first goal. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he should be strong. He should. A good keeper would punch that solid. But to me, he's a Mickey Mouse keeper now. He can't kick with shit.
Yeah. May I add to that? You know, why is he not focusing on catching those long throws and treating it like a corner kick?
Mm-hmm. I think another side for me is, and I said this in the chat the other day, that we still can't get decent crosses into the box. How many times, like George keeps saying, we hit the bloody defender time after time after time again. Even I'm now started screaming at the thing, saying, get it out with the bloody defender's head, man. Come on. We've got the tallest players in the flipping league and you cannot clear the bloody defender. But that's for Eddie to do, and I've got faith that hopefully he'll do it. He just needs to get them sorted during the international break and hopefully turn us around. Come on, lads. We can turn it around. I know City's going to be a tough game, but we seem to thrive on playing teams like that. And I don't want to hope that that's our only faith, but we seem to play out of our skins when we play the top teams, and I'm hoping City's one of those.
Okay, good stuff as always. Thank you to Barry, Alan, Magnus, Pablo, Adam, Jeff, and Darren and George. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to the moderators in the chat. Back tomorrow, 5 o'clock, with Talk of the Tune with Sid and Rob. Until then, take care. Have a good evening, whatever you're doing. See you, lads.
See you, lads. See you,
guys.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat, and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or tynetheatre and opera house.uk.